just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us, our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com, use promo code DOC, and get 15% off your purchase. That's neverforgottenapparel.com.
Dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you know you're going to think the same way, as for, from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
All things food service, recipes, and restaurants. Spoony.
Hey folks, this is Chef Patrick Mosier, better known as the Food Biz Pro, here on Spoony Radio. We have shows regarding food, food culture, the restaurant business, consulting services for businesses, startups of all sorts, not just the restaurant industry. We talk about travel, food destinations. It's a lot of food, fun, and family. Mike from the World Food Championships will be coming on, giving us a weekly update on Saturday afternoons on what's new in the world of food sport. Yes, folks, I said food sport. No, it's not where competitors walk into Kitchen Stadium and beat each other to death with a limp fish. It's where you have 2,000 events which lead to the World Food Championships. Join us for the World Food Championship updates every week. Join us on Spoony on the Dash Radio Network, 24/7 Food Talk Radio.
We're not solving all the world's problems, but we're bringing people to the table. Spoony, food and fun.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line.
There's a new food show sheriff in town, Podna. Trey's Chowdown Podcast Live will feature celebrity chefs and pitmasters with celebrity mixologists with creative cocktail menus from distilleries statewide. We'll have farmers, ranchers, wildlife experts, fishermen, and more, all for the culinary world and the foodies. Live from the Spoony Studios on the iHeartRadio platform, Trey's Chowdown Podcast Live.
Oh, there we go. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Hey, technically, just blame Patrick on that. Yeah. I'm not supposed to be in here touching buttons, man.
That's great. That's great. My mic was muted. Somebody's already muted my mic.
I was practicing.
Hey, everybody. This is Trey Chapman with Trey's Chowdown Live on our inaugural show, and I'm here with Chef Blaine Stanford of Grace and Literary Loss. Blaine, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate you having us on our first coming on our first show. I'm really excited about it.
I'm really excited.
Well, let's just get right down to it. So, Blaine, tell us, you've been in the chef business a long time. What got you started?
Man, I've been cooking. I added it up this morning when I was in Chow, so it's been cooking for 25 years professionally.
25 years.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's a long time.
So I lied when I was 14 years old. And, I told my parents I wanted to get a job. I was trying to impress the girls. I wanted to have a nice car. So my parents on the weekends would drive me out to the Doubletree Hotel and drop me off, and I'd work basically Friday nights. Turn around and work the AM shift, which is probably one of the most horrible things in the world. Get there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I've made so many trays of bacon. At 14, 15 years old. I still love bacon.
That's a great story, though. You lied and get a job. That's great.
So I pulled about 20-25 hours on the weekend while I was in high school. And from there, I was introduced to a chef from the Culinary Institute of America in upstate New York at the Bridlewood Country Club, not too far from where my parents lived at the time in Flower Mound. And I wasn't familiar with the school at the time, but from the chef, he's like, if you want to get in this profession, you need to go to the premier school in the nation. So my dad took me to it was kind of like a summer camp for high school students at the Culinary Institute of America. And basically, they drop you off for a week, and you do all the duties that you would as a student there.
To see if you might like it. Okay, kind of get you indoctrinated and see if you like it.
Right. And so you stay in the dorms, you interact with all the chefs, and through that process, you actually could apply for school.
Oh, neat.
And so I went, all my documents, I had already planned on graduating high school early. I was taking like some, classes online or whatever, so I could get out of high school. That's cool. So through that process, I was accepted, and I was one of the youngest students to be accepted to the Culinary Institute of America.
And you moved to New York?
Yeah, upstate New York at 17 years old.
Wow. And how long? We talked this a while ago for the show. How long were you in New York?
So the school program is a 2.5-year program for the associates. But I did an extended internship in Manhattan at a restaurant called Aquavit underneath a chef named Marcus Samuelson.
Oh, is that restaurant still there? Probably not.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still there?
Yeah, Marcus isn't the chef there anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Aquavit is going strong. It's,
awesome.
Oh, yeah. One of the top restaurants in Manhattan.
So then when you got through there, you came down here came back home?
Well, no, not necessarily. Like I'm from the DFW area. I loved upstate New York. But then I wanted to go to the other coast, so I went to San Francisco.
Oh, I love San Francisco. I lived there for a year.
Yeah, I love it.
The food and the culinary experience in San Francisco are awesome.
Well, let me tell you what. Like when you're young in your career and working in the business, you don't get to see the city.
No.
You see it first thing in the morning. You see it, and you walk home at night. That's about it.
Nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, I mean, I was working 80, 100-hour weeks in San Francisco at a restaurant called Aqua, and then I worked at their sister restaurant called Pisces. Chef with Michael Mina at the time. And I was loving it. Loved San Francisco, but then I had an opportunity to move to Southern California and work at a restaurant called Aubergine, which was a really small 50-seat restaurant. We did a 7-course tasting menu that changed every single day. My chef at the time he called it like the mini French Laundry.
Mini French Laundry.
We actually Thomas Keller actually came to the restaurant. We actually served him.
Oh, neat.
And it was kind of funny. I was working the meat station that night, and I was so nervous. I remember the exact dish I served him. It was a rabbit dish, and one of the plate ups was this tiny French track of rabbit, which is about the size of a quarter. And I'm like shaking, about to put it on the plate, and I drop it on the ground.
Oh, no.
You just hear the kitchen go, oh. And then my chef just starts screaming.
Those are stories you don't forget. Those are real life stories you don't forget.
Yeah.
So what made you, so eventually you found your way back here, and then what made you start Grace and Little Red Wasp, your 2 restaurants now?
So how I was introduced to Grace and Little Red Wasp was actually through a headhunter, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I was working in Dallas. I had myself and 3 other team members were running a restaurant called Fuse, and that was a Tex-Asian restaurant in downtown Dallas. And my investment partners were kind of going in a little bit different direction, so I was looking to see what else is out there. And a headhunter called me and said, "Hey, I've got this gentleman named Adam Jones who's building this restaurant, and do you have any desire to meet with him?"
Well, yeah.
So I've never heard of Adam Jones. I didn't know too much about him, and it's interesting. Dallas and Fort Worth, they kind of ahead sometimes.
They're coming together more.
Agree.
Back then they were very butthead, but nowadays they're coming together a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had an interview and at the construction site of Grace. This was in 2008. And, Adam Jones and I just hit it off. Your traditional, interview process, your first time interview was like, 30, 40 minutes?
Right.
It ended up being like 2.5, 3 hours. We ended up going to lunch, just talking shop, talking restaurants, talking to business. And it's like, just kind of like, I just said I wanted to work for him.
Things like that sometimes work, though, and that's great. Didn't know him, he didn't know you, and you had what he needed, and you had what he needed.
Right.
So it worked out fantastic.
Yeah, and that was, Grace is just now, in November, it celebrated its 10-year anniversary. So.
I love Grace. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I got to tell you the story. So when I was with Chef Marcus Paisley, who owns another fine restaurant in town called Clay Pigeon, and Marcus was talking about escargot or snail dishes. And this is why, was it, what, 4 years ago? When did you start that? Not 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And Mark was talking about snail, how delicious it was, and I looked at him, and I'm a steak guy. You know that. You know, it's just Texas. Steak, chicken, and a lot of sushi, but not much of a snail guy, escargot guy. And he went on about these shells. He said, no, he does this, has them does this, they eat this. And so I had to go over there and went over there. And sure enough, Blaine came out and explained me the dish. And boy, I loved it. And matter of fact, I had 2 of them that night. I ordered 2 of those that night. You brought out 2 anyway. Tell us about that dish, how you came up with that dish and how it came about.
You know, sometimes snails can be one of those things you see in like a classic French restaurant, you know, kind of doused in butter with some puff pastry, you know, very kind of old school. And I just found this lady out of California that's raising these snails that are only fed basil.
That's what it was, fed basil.
So literally, she has these plants growing in her facility, and it's literally the snails are attached to these basil plants and just feed off of it.
Yeah.
So when she takes them and she poaches them in a basil-flavored liquid and then ships them to us. And they are absolutely fantastic.
Oh, you can't even describe it. They're absolutely amazing. I had 2 other guys with me that night, and they went there. They thought they were going to drink, and when I first told them what it was, they're like, "Oh no, I'm good, Trey, I'm good." I said, "No, man," and that's you got to coax them, got to get them to try it, and both of them they couldn't believe it. That's when we ordered another one. So we had 2 of them. I didn't order. I asked you for them, but it was and the way that you talk about it, you're so passionate. That's another thing that I've realized about you is you're very passionate about what you do, and it just I didn't really know your background until we just sat down and started talking on the show. Thank you very much. But I love how passionate you are about your food and your dishes. So that's just another way. And another story, I want to do one more, and then we're going to go to Little Red Wasp about Grace. But I had some people in from American Hat Company, that make the cowboy hats. I don't know if you remember, but I asked you if you had something neat, and you had a was it wagyu you had rubbed in rice? What was that dish?
So we use something called koji. Which is basically inoculated rice. Okay. So it's a fermented rice.
Right.
And traditionally, koji is used in making miso.
Right.
But what we've done, and it's practiced pretty commonly now, is it's also a tenderizer and a flavor enhancer.
Okay.
Kind of like a non-processed, non-chemically based, like MSG.
Sure.
So what we do is we take this inoculated or this fermented rice and we rub it over the beef. And what it does is really creates this umami flavor. So that really, really earthy flavor that you get you would get like from a mushroom. And so we cure it with that and then rinse it off, and it produces this tender, sweet reaction in the meat. It's just fantastic.
I can taste it. that first bite. I let Keith Money try it. The guy in American Hat. He was like, "Whoa!" He said, "You're not going to get that at the local steak market." I said, "No, you're not."
Well, it also makes it a little better when we take a piece of Japanese A5 Kobe beef and rub it on it. We've got the most pristine beef from Japan and put that on.
And what is that process? What is that process? You rub it on there?
It's almost like a rice paste. And so it sits on there for about 24 hours.
Amazing.
And then we rinse it off and then treat it like you would a normal.
Where did you get the inspiration for that? Did you see it, or was this something you thought about doing?
I think as a chef, I wouldn't say there. I would always say that I get inspiration from other chefs.
Sure.
I'm always looking at recipes,
you have to,
what's up and coming, things like that. I take an idea that someone's maybe doing and convert it to my own. I'm not trying to sit here and copy recipes.
Sure.
It's like someone's doing something cool. I want to know. If I've never done it, I want to see how they do it. So I'm always trying to learn, create new techniques.
You have to evolve every day and learn something new every day. Because the culinary world and the restaurant world, since social media, we talked about this the other day, it changes so fast and just boom blows up.
Sure.
Man, so what is your favorite thing to cook at Grace? Like if you had, and I know you talk about this. We're in Texas. It's a steak market, a beef market in general, protein market. But what is your favorite thing to cook at Grace? Like if somebody comes into Grace and says, "I want Blaine special," what was your favorite thing?
Well, I think kind of my background is a lot of European and French food. So I would say that I lean towards more towards fish type items. I really enjoy cooking that. And when I think that's what makes us neat for Fort Worth is we're very steak driven. And of course, we wouldn't be in business today at Grace if we didn't have amazing steaks.
Right.
But when you dine at Grace, we also have some awesome fish stuff. And we don't just do, your traditional, snappers and salmon and bass and things like that. I'm really taking the time to research and find really amazing fish right now. So I'm bringing in a farm-raised fish from Spain that's a turbo, that's a flat fish that you don't see turbo in very many markets, especially here in DFW.
Right.
So we're taking the effort to find these specific fish and bring something to the plate that you don't find at many other places.
And see,
town.
this is the thing that most people don't understand now. I did a deal for Fox. We did it on seafood. And people don't understand, the average person does not understand what's involved now. It's not frozen fish that sits in a warehouse anymore, in a deep freezer or in a cold storage. It is fresh, flown overnight to your back door. In lots of cases, they talk to the guy on the boat, they ship it over. And so it alleviates a lot of the bad flavors and a lot of the things that people were used to getting back, from a while back.
But this is how it works nowadays. Is like my fish guys, they call me from the dock.
Right.
Or they call me from the dock as the boat's leaving, and they're not saying they're going to catch this. They're saying they're shooting to catch this.
Right.
So they're saying it's almost pre-planning.
Yeah.
And if they catch it, and I've agreed to get it, I get it. And if they don't catch anything, I don't get it.
You can't get any fresher than that.
So and nowadays you just ship it overnight, and it's I'm getting stuff that still coming alive, moving. I'm getting shrimp still moving out of the. They just came out of the water the night before.
Isn't that amazing? So, are you like Kid in the Candy Store when you got that stuff up?
Oh, it's and then we just take pictures of them and put all over social media.
Yeah. But no, you're like Kid in the Candy Store. It feels good to get that, right? It's fresh. You're passionate about your dish. You want the dish to be awesome for the customer. And I know I've eaten at Grace a bunch, and sometimes I want to talk to you, sometimes I don't talk to you. But I always have a phenomenal experience at Grace. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Before I go to Little Red Wasp, you won Top Chef in when? When was 2012? 2012 you won Top Chef. Mm-hmm. And you had a good time doing that. How many times were you was it twice before you won?
Twice.
Okay, now. You're still involved, you go back. You were there, weren't you there last year?
So once you've won, then you get to be partake as part of the judge.
Right.
And so I've judged a few years, and they've also done a Top Chef Masters that I've competed in, and they did that one time.
They did that again. I don't know why. Which I think they should do every year. I think it'd be awesome to do every year.
Sure. There's a lot of good talent here in Fort Worth.
Oh my! We're going to talk about that in a minute. So I want to, before I go to Little Red Wasp, I want to get on this for a minute. Sorry, I had to look at the clock there, see what's going on. My first show, I'm like, you ever seen a cat on a hot tin roof? Boing, boing, boing. You're like, you know what's going on.
Hey, man, I'll knock on the window if I have to. It's okay.
Okay, all right, man. All right, so Grace, y'all have got a 7-course dinner y'all do, correct?
So we offer a 7-course tasting menu and also a 7-course vegetarian tasting menu, and that's every single night. It's basically I would say people think, 7 courses is way too much food. Basically, an appetizer, an entree, and dessert as far as the size goes.
Right.
So it'd be like your typical night out if you're going out, for a birthday or special occasion or anything like that. So it's not a ton of food. We do offer wine pairings with every single course. And there's some supplements on there if you want to add a cheese course. Maybe sometimes we add some truffles or we add some foie gras or some additional items. But it's something to really get a chance to experience the whole experience of Grace.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this is every night, and you have a vegetarian.
Yeah, and so for Fort Worth to have a 7-course vegetarian.
Oh man! Okay, so just for my, because I'm curious about this, because there's such a beef market here in Texas, anywhere in Texas. What's your ratio?
It's interesting. It's actually probably 60-40, leaning towards not the vegetarian, but 40% of the two is vegetarian.
Really?
What I really think is kind of fun is we have a lot of guests come in and they'll do the vegetarian tasting menu, and then right after their like 6th course, they'll go on dessert. They'll order a steak and split it between 2 people.
Do they really? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So they're eating healthy, and then they'll finish off with a steak.
That's
I think it's
awesome.
hilarious.
That's awesome. And then there's some of those diehard vegetarians too, but that's neat. I think a lot of times now, and I read an article. I didn't read. I saw it on a Food Channel that the younger generation, millennials, and that's up to 40 now, but they're going for experiences. So they like to have foodie experiences. It's and this as well as I do the last decade. We talk about this. Food is just blown up. Sure. And so the food experience, they would prefer to have less money in the bank and have more experience, food and drink experiences, which is phenomenal to me. And I think you kind of prove it there to see, you see it at Grace, you see it at your restaurants, how that happens.
Well, yeah, it's just there's a market. There's people that in it. There's people that want to eat vegetables that aren't vegetarian.
Sure.
And it's not just to be healthy. It's fun.
It's fun.
And the main things that you can do with vegetables. You can do this, like you can do things with meat and proteins and things. You can do all those things with vegetables.
Sure.
And create these dishes that are just as flavorful and just as much fun and just as, exciting as with something that has, a meat or fish protein on it.
And where do you get, because you do a fantastic job at plating. And, I've always said, and people that don't know, my family's in the restaurant business for over 100 years, right at 100 years. And so plating, I always tell everybody that I think that when you go to eat, it visually, if it doesn't look good visually, it's not going to taste good. In people's mind, it doesn't translate to their minds. And your plating is always phenomenal at Grace. Where do you get your inspiration for your plating?
I think it's, I don't want to say it's like from, nature or anything. I'm not trying to get all holistic about it or anything like that. But, I think I like clean, simple lines. And not a lot of fuss on the plate. I'm not going to put something on there that doesn't really make sense, a bunch of little garnishes and things like that. All the dish has to come through. It's like if you taste something on there, it needs to pair with everything else.
Sure.
So it just all needs to flow well, and it just needs to look good. It doesn't have to be really fussy.
But I've been to some really nice restaurants and the plating's not very good. I think it's part of the artistic side of somebody. Is it artistic or is it something you just learn? Can you be taught that, or is it something that has to be creative inside you as a chef?
No, I think it's definitely is. I think it's a taught or a learned thing.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it has to become is patience.
Yeah.
And cooking, it is an art, but it also is it's organization.
Sure.
We take care of 200 covers and 200 guests a night. So that could mean if it's a tasting menu, do the math. Do the math on how many plates go out of the kitchen. So a lot of it's organization and just kind of following your instructions.
That's another thing. What people don't understand now anymore, when you're a head chef or you're a restaurateur, you're a chef, you're part of the operation. So it's not just throwing something on a plate. You have a whole spectrum of operations you have to deal with from the front to the back of the house that you deal with as a chef. And so I think sometimes people that don't understand think that a chef just sits back there and cooks, and that's not what they do anymore. You have to be you have to be a very well-rounded individual.
I'll tell you what, behind every great chef is a slew of team.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I'm at without who I have as a chef de cuisine, my sous chefs, and all of my line cooks, all the way down to the dishwashers, to the busboys, and everything else. I mean,
we talked about that. Your turnover is very little in your kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer in treating my staff with utmost respect. We try and be as competitive as we can as far as wage pay, and obviously we're in a business, we're trying to be profitable, but I think I'm not from that generation that I was brought up in the generations of the yelling and screaming, but I don't run my kitchens that way.
Yeah. And we talk about that. We've talked about that several times about that. It's and that's another part of where evolution has evolved for the workplace and the kitchen. And it used to be a dirty, yelling, mean place. It did. Knives throwing, pans getting tossed around.
Yeah.
So and it's really changed. But I think if you want to have an operation that serves the finest food and keeps customers happy, you have to retain people. You can't possibly run a great operation if you're constantly retraining people. It's impossible.
I'll tell you what. By me just shaking the hand of every single employee, looking them in the eye and just saying thank you at the end of a shift, that just gets them to work so much harder for you, and they want to come to work every single day.
Respect thing.
Yeah.
Which is back in the day, the people working in the kitchen were not respected at all. They were an afterthought.
Sure.
And of course you learned that because you worked it, right?
I worked in some pretty hardcore.
Okay, so let's leave Grace for a minute. Let's talk about Blaine, the man, not the chef. Take the chef coat off. John Teaser told one time that when he gets off, he goes and eats a frozen pizza. So on the way home, what is your favorite thing to eat when you go home? When you're off, when you're done, you throw the chef coat off. What do you like to eat?
Oh man, I am such an egg guy. So an egg, yeah. It's like anything I can do with eggs. I always have to have way too many eggs in my refrigerator, and also hot sauces. So I have 25 different hot sauces always in the refrigerator, and all kinds of different things.
Jen and I are both big hot sauce. I've got 25 just like you, 30 hot, and I've got hot sauce all the time. I love them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You like Crystal?
Oh, I love crystals.
That's the first time I tried it was at your place, and then that same year I went to New Orleans. It was like 3 years ago, maybe. I went to New Orleans, and it was all over down there.
Sure.
So apparently it's liked a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a good balance of the vinegar and the heat. So
yeah, it is. I want to talk about the Red Lost, but I'm going to talk about it after our break. We're going to have a break here in a minute. But before that, when you are not at Grace, what do you enjoy doing? Like, do you ride bikes? What do you enjoy doing?
Yes, sir. My wife and I are kind of work a little bit different schedules, so Sundays and Mondays are our time to like really kind of catch up. So both of us are really into yoga.
Yoga? Oh boy, I can't help you there. I tried yoga one time. I'm not going to tell you what happened in that studio. It was not pretty.
So yeah, it's just something that really I think is good for your mind and just kind of working in the kitchen is pretty stressful, so I think it really takes you to a different level of just getting your mind thought on something else. We're both really like being outdoors.
Hang on back. Bikram's a hot yoga, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
That's what you do?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell. Dude, I almost died. And the sounds that were coming out of me, the smells, it was terrible. I've never forgot that in my life. As a matter of fact, the lady who was running the studio said, you need to reevaluate if it's something you really want to do, Mr. Chapman.
That's hilarious.
All right, so after you get to the yoga, what else you do?
Like I said, we're outdoors people. We like to camp a lot. We have 4 dogs, so we're always outside with them. So we're really outdoors people.
That's awesome. Do you hike at all?
Yeah. So anytime we're on vacation, we always are, somewhere where we can hike or camp, and so there's always, trails that we try and do and things.
That's awesome. Have you worked it around? Because I know chefs work an enormous amount of hours. Have you worked it around where you do get time off and you give yourself that luxury?
Sure. So my average is about a 10 to 12 hour day, but it's 5 days a week. So I'm always usually, unless there's something crazy going on, I'm always having 2 solid days off. And I think it's important. Trust me, there's been plenty of times where I've worked 6-7 day weeks. You go on a 14 days straight. Not too much anymore.
Okay, we're going to go a little break. We'll be back in a minute, talk some more about Blaine, about Little Red Blossom, and some other things. See you in a minute.
It's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Weird. Just like
it's awesome. It's easy to talk to. See, I learned stuff about you I never knew. It's awesome. But I like,
dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you?
Like me? Like libertarians and conservatives? There is. We the people.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you're going to think the same way, as from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place.
Take
the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service. They're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A Thrive.com.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
Funny name, but I've done it with RaduZone. RADUZone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more. Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. RADUZone.com. RIDUZone.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Food, culture, and fun. Spoony.
Spoony
and Trey Chapman. We're back here with Blaine Seifert from Grace and Little Red Wasp. So Blaine, I want to get into, first of all, a little bit about Valentine's Day. Grace is taking reservations for Valentine's Day still, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, of course, you run your normal menu, which is awesome.
Yes.
How many I do have a good question. What is the normal amount of times do you see, like, people that come to Grace? Like, what's the return rate for you on couples and families? It's quite a bit, isn't it, for a year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely have a great core of return customers.
Yeah.
You know, with being open 10 years, and you know, I think we just have a great spot with the community in Fort Worth.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about Little Red Wasp, one of my favorite places in Dallas Fort Worth. You know I do. I've written stories about it. I've done 2 episodes on Fox for it. And I just love it. So where'd you get the inspiration from Little Red Wasp? Hang on, before you say, Little Red Wasp is an awesome place in downtown Fort Worth on Main Street, right by the closest convention center, right across from, what's the hotel?
Right across the street from the, or just down the street from the Ashton, right across the street from the Hilton. Right.
And I'm going to tell you something. You know, the Hilton is one that's connected to Ruth's.
Yes.
Okay. My granddad, it was a Texas hotel. My granddad owned the breakfast restaurant in that hotel when it was a Texas hotel across the Red Wasp. And my great uncle, who was a Texas Ranger, shot a guy between the eyes in the ballroom at the Texas hotel. And what's that about history, huh? That's how long we've been in Texas.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, Little Red Wasp is a knife and fork sandwich type place.
So we originally, Adam Jones and I were thinking, you know, we wanted to do another project, and we basically wanted to create food that we enjoy eating.
Sure.
We wanted it to be casual. We wanted it to be approachable. We wanted a place where, you know, someone would come on a weekly basis as opposed to Grace's a little bit more of a special occasion.
Sure.
It's kind of catty corner to where we are at Grace in downtown. So it's at 8th and Main, and Grace is at 7th and Main.
Sure.
So lunch, dinner, Saturday, Sunday brunch. You know, we do focus at lunchtime knife and fork sandwiches. I gotta talk about our Reuben.
I want you to tell about that Reuben. See, I've had pretty much all your sandwiches there. You know, I promote them all the time. I post them. If you've never been, you can find me at TreyChowdown.com and Trey's Chowdown on any kind of social media. But I post a lot of Blaine sandwiches, and I love them. Now tell us about that Reuben.
All right. Well, you know, like I said previously, I was working in Manhattan quite a bit, and so I wanted to create a Reuben that was very, you know, kind of Cat's Deli or Carnegie Deli-esque. So, you know, we're brying prime brisket, and it takes a 3-day brine.
3-day brine.
So it's a special blend of our spices and soaks in this liquid for about 3 days, and then it cooks overnight for about 18 hours until tender. And then it gets cooled down. So it is a 3 to 4 day process before we even get to start.
So when someone eats a Reuben at Little Red Wasp, it's a 4-day process.
Sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a traditional, you know, very traditional way of making it.
But here we go again. Passion. That's your passion. That's how passionate you are. 4 days to make a sandwich for somebody. That's amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, I think we really wanted to bring with Little Red Wasp, the same concept or the same, you know, mentality that we put into Grace, where it comes from scratch, but it's approachable, price conscious, but we don't take away from anything. We're not buying anything pre-made.
No. You've never done. No. And the thing is, a lot of those sandwiches are very big.
Oh yeah.
When I say knife and fork, I mean your place it's a knife and fork place to me, because you can eat all that stuff with just knife and forks. Are so big.
For sure. Yeah. Sure.
Now, you have a big chicken sandwich. It's about like that big, right? That's a picture I got. I split it open and cut it. And so how's that one made?
So this is definitely one of our #1 sellers. So it's about a 10-ounce chicken breast that's marinated in buttermilk, and then we bread it and fry it. And then we're using these amazing potato buns that we actually use.
That's what it was, potato bun.
Potato buns that we get from Empire Bakery there in Dallas. We actually use them for all of our bread. Fantastic bread company. And then instead of doing we do a non-traditional slaw that's raw red and white cabbage, and then we do a play on 1,000 Island that we spike with a little bit of heat for some sriracha in there. Some spicy Best Made Pickles, a little company here in Fort Worth. Company.
Yeah. You know, I have to say this because it just impressed me so much. I tell everybody, and I have ever since I started this deal 10 years ago, that food always tastes better with a story.
Sure.
And I love sriracha, but when I saw the story on that guy about how he had to leave and how he had to crawl underneath the fence and then get on that it was a boat, it was a tanker, and his I think it's Hufong or
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the name of the tanker, and that's how he named his company. And he started that company garage, and the guy still doesn't speak English. Yeah. I mean, that to me, I fell in love. That was just made me over the top about sriracha.
Sure.
Phenomenal. American Dream. Came here and made the American Dream come true.
Yeah, it's a great sauce.
Oh, it's amazing sauce. Absolutely amazing. So what else is your chicken biscuit at Grace's? I mean, at Little Red Wasp is awesome.
Okay, so brunch, yes. Saturday and Sunday brunch is definitely a big thing for us. So originally I wanted to do a biscuit. So we created a recipe using Tillamook cheddar cheese. And
Tillamook cheddar cheese, that's it.
And really what makes it a great cheddar cheese. And they're about a 4 to 5 ounce biscuit. I mean, gigantic. And then we serve that open face with a crispy chicken breast that has the additional Tillamook cheddar melted on top of it, and then we serve it in a black pepper gravy.
Yep.
So it's cold weather. It'll fill you up. It'll stick to your ribs.
That's the one I featured on Fox Television, and I'm gonna tell you what, that was the star of the show. Was right in the middle. Did you see the episode? Yeah. It's good. The only thing I have, everybody see, whenever I do a show over there, I think you've done stuff there too.
Yep.
But they're like vultures, right?
Oh yeah.
They all want to eat the stuff. They were all eyeing that thing. The only thing I got in trouble for was they wanted me to bring 8 or 10 of them instead of only 2.
That's great.
All right, so I've got some other questions for you. So, where'd you get the inspiration for Little Wasp? Besides, where'd y'all get the inspiration from?
So it's funny. The name Little Red Wasp. Well, actually, Grace and Little Red Wasp is named after Adam's wife.
Oh, okay.
So, and kind of funny story. She's no longer in the picture anymore.
Oh no! Two restaurants named after her, and she's not there anymore.
Yeah. We won't go into that.
Oh my gosh! Every time he turns the key, he's got. Oh no! Shay, she got. I don't know what happened. She got the best laugh, didn't she? So that's where the inspiration came from.
Yeah. Well, that's
part of it. That's where the name came from. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So when you have sous chefs at both places. You have the sous chef at Little Red Wasp. Do they cross over at all, or are they totally separate?
We do keep them totally separate. Not for any reason. Just they're just two different businesses.
Two businesses. Okay. Yeah. Now I do want to ask you this: what is your favorite spice to cook with?
If
you had to pick one, what would it be?
Yeah, I'm really into like anise flavors, so I really love like fennel seed, and if it was an herb, I'd probably lean towards tarragon. Both of those have that anise flavor, so.
Yeah, is that just from personal experience or something you like?
I wonder if it's probably from kind of my European and French background. It's like we used to use it a lot in a lot of the kitchens that I grew up in, and so I just kind of love the flavor. And you don't see it used a lot, and so I think when people taste some of my dishes, they're like, "What is that flavor? I can't pick out." And it's like it's usually something that has a touch of anise. I don't want it to be overpowering because I'm not a big like black licorice person.
Yeah.
But like some of those anise flavors, I really like. They really complement things.
From someone who has from people that are listening that have no idea what that is, tell them what that flavor. Tell them what it looks like, kind of, and what its actual flavor like.
Sure. So fennel is a bulb vegetable that grows under the ground.
Under the dirt.
Yeah, under the dirt. It has that anise or like that licorice type flavor.
Okay.
And then a derivative of that is tarragon, which also has anise flavor, and then the seeds of the fennel seed, which is kind of looks like a caraway seed, and maybe you don't know what a caraway seed is, but it has a nice, again, like licorice flavor.
Okay. So when you're coming up as a chef, an upcoming chef now, because a lot of chefs don't get to your level. Okay. So they stop or they can do other things. How do you get to where you are being creative? Is it something that you just drove for? Is it your passion drove you to, or did it just as you just kept going, it just kept coming in front of you?
It's kind of hard to explain. I grew up, and both of my grandparents were amazing Southern cooks, and I was always in their kitchen lifting lids and getting my hand slapped and stuff. So, I didn't. When I got into this profession, I didn't really get into it, or I'd never called myself like an artist or anything like that. I've always just enjoyed food,
right?
And I love cooking it. And I think what makes it worthwhile for me every single day and wanting to go back into work is just there's something that when you serve something to someone, it's kind of like that same way you said with the snail dish, like the look on your face or the look on a guest's face that's like so happy, and they want to ask questions and they want to know the story behind it. I mean, that makes it.
Sure.
You know, forget the long hours, forget the, being on your feet all the time and things like that. It's making that guest happy or making that person happy is what's what I get out of it.
And I understand that, because that's the same way I feel now, because my business, being a food critic and review and promoting chefs and restaurants, stuff that I like, I get that same thing when I tell people, go try. And I get people writing me notes, or I can see the expression on their face, or like my Jana, my girlfriend, she did a lot of stuff before she met me, and she'd stuff, and she matter of fact, she's pretty much like 95% of the stuff that she's tried with me. There's a couple things that I can tell when she doesn't like, but for the most part, she does it. And getting people to try new experiences, and then I watch their face. I didn't create the dish. I'm not a chef. You are,
sure,
but you probably get a little more passionate than I do, but it makes me feel good when someone likes what I'm trying to relate to them.
And all I can say is for diners out there, and when you're going to a restaurant, and it doesn't have to be high end or anything, is chefs create dishes to make you happy.
Right.
So it's something that's outside of your box. I highly encourage you to try it, because I guarantee you, if it's something that's not your traditional thing, the chefs put a lot more heart and thought into it, and it's probably going to blow you away.
There are some food trucks now that are just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, food trucks, the little kitchens, the side, the carts. It doesn't have to be an expensive meal. It can be, and they're all there. It all takes creation. I mean, I watch so many shows now because I want to soak up everything I can about the food business. The stuff that comes out of the carts and the little food trucks, the beat up food trucks, is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's phenomenal. So where do you think, like, okay, when you have a new dish, when you come up with a new dish, we talked about this earlier, are there certain things that you see in the public that inspire you to maybe make that dish? Like if you're out walking around, or if you're in the woods, or you're hiking, or you're doing yoga, is there something you might see that would inspire you to do a dish, or does it come from other ways?
No, I think first off, we think about seasonality.
Okay.
We minimally a minimum of 4 times a year we change our menus. And then with the tasting menus, those are always constantly evolving. So I think I always start with seasonality.
So hang on. So you say seasonality for people to listen. You change your menu at least 4 times a year, correct?
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so we start with that, and then we look at what's available. I do try and use a lot of local ingredients.
Right.
That's not always
fresh.
Yeah, always fresh.
Always
but
fresh.
I do try and get involved with a lot of our farmers and things along those lines. It's not always available, so I look outside of the state to bring in stuff, especially if the quality's not there. Fort Worth is landlocked, so I know my fish is not. We're not fishing out of the Trinity.
Don't fish out of Trinity. But they do it, though. And they float around in there. Have you seen them floating in there? Some guy said, "You want to float in there?" No, sir. They just pulled out a 7-foot gator last year. Oh, my gosh, that's crazy. So that's another thing, too. You bring up a good point. If you come up with a dish, you know the dish that you want, and you're landlocked with what you got to have, you get at least to get that dish, or is there sometimes you scrap the dish and say, "I just can't do it." You won't sacrifice that dish for product that's not fresh.
Yeah. I mean, we're never going to sacrifice quality to just not put a dish out there. It's just not worth it.
I tell everybody all the time in today's times, people say, "Well, how come you don't put more bad reviews on?" Here's mine. I'm a positive guy. I don't believe in if a chef has worked hard, he has a bad day like you have. Like I have a bad day like you have a bad day as a chef.
Sure.
And everybody's entitled to make mistakes, And I don't see any reason to go on and blast somebody because he's had a bad day, or he has a bad dish, or maybe a sous chef, his kitchen got something wrong. It just in today and times, in this day and time, if you have a bad restaurant, it's going to take care of itself real quick.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason to beat somebody up for it. They're just not going to last.
Sure. And all I can say is that by no means are we perfect.
No.
We're going to make mistakes, and all I can do is, and I tell my staff this, it's like all we're going to do is strive to be the best that we can be, and every single day go in and try and take care of the guests.
Yes, sir. So let me ask you, in your opinion, what has been the single biggest in the last decade, the single biggest changing factor in the restaurant business, in the restaurant field? Or the service field in the whole, because you're in the bar and the restaurant business, so service field in the whole, what has been the single thing that you've seen that's been the most significant?
I guess that's a question. A tough question. What I've seen, I can probably talk a little bit more about what I've seen more in Fort Worth as a whole, because I will say that, we're serving dishes at Grace currently that we would not even been able to serve 10 years ago.
No.
Perfect example was we opened up Grace and serving a pretty basic dish. I think at the time was a basic dish of a halibut dish that was served in a broth that was flavored like a chupino, like something you would see in San Francisco.
Right.
And so we were getting destroyed in reviews. They were like, "What's going on with my fish served in this broth?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? This is like a very traditional thing." And me coming from San Francisco, I mean, every single restaurant has some type of chupino. Well, I guess it wasn't being used, wasn't seen in Fort Worth. Well, so I had to take it off the menu because people were bashing it. So nowadays, I have broths all over the place. It's just kind of funny. It's just like people have evolved in Fort Worth.
Right, but here's what upsets me about this review business, about social media, about Yelp, and all these places. And you know me, I don't talk about anybody, I never have. But you have people putting reviews and doing online stuff for Yelp or whatever that have never even tasted a dish like that.
Sure,
they're gonna, and they have no real gauge as to what that dish, what the flavor should be, how it should look, because they've never even had it. But they want to gauge it, and I see it all the time. They want to gauge it against something trivial that there's nothing to that dish, and that's the only thing that bothers me. And that's one thing about social media. I wish that there was more people that were more broad, I guess, more broad scoped in their eating habits before they make comments about dishes that they eat.
Well, this is what someone told me a long time ago, is with different reviews. It's like, okay, you take the whole list of the reviews. You take the top ones, throw those out. You take the worst ones, throw those out. You look at the middle, and I think you can get a really good judgment of a restaurant based on reviews on the middle content of it all. And you know what? If you haven't tasted it, go try the restaurant. Make your own opinion. I mean, I'm not going to take the, a friend tells me he didn't like some place, I'm probably going to go there just because I want to try it.
It's like a movie. It's like a movie. The movie critics say, "Oh, it's a bad movie." Every time I go, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, if someone tells me 2 or 3 times that dish is bad, I got to go try it. Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be good.
Sure.
And I try to eat everything. The last 10 years, the amount of food I've eaten. There's one thing I will not eat, though, I promise you. I see a new deal going around on social media about eating a live octopus. Have you seen that? Yeah. What? I'm not doing that, brother. You don't know. I'm not going to do that. The thing is flopping around. They're trying to get in their mouth. It's going like this out of their mouth. How can that be tasty?
Just slurp it down.
Oh, my God. Have you done that?
I've had baby octopus still kind of moving. Yeah, dip a little soy sauce. It's good.
What in the world? It tastes good though.
Yeah.
Now I like other kinds of things, but just the moving deal, I don't know, man. I can throw that to me. I'm in the cattle meat business. I'm not going to go eat the cats that's running around. I got to catch and throw down and eat raw. So how can I eat an octopus that's raw?
As fresh as it gets, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So what's your favorite junk food? I'm going to switch gears here. What's your favorite junk food?
Oh, yes, that's interesting. I am not like a candy person at all. So I don't even have like any like junk food at my house. It's weird. I'll eat it, but I don't keep it at the house, and it's not. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because my wife's not into it either. So, but I will say, I am a chocolate chip cookie like fiend. So it's like when I see one and like the sides at my house, like I'm always gonna.
I'm proud of you now. I gotta tell you a funny story. So I've always loved sweets. We used to own a bunch of Dairy Queens. That was part of our portfolio in restaurants, and I love sweets. But my favorite thing, I got hooked on gummy bears. When we used to travel, my dad would take us to Europe. When he got divorced, he would take us to Europe in the summers, and we'd travel around, try different restaurants and things. Well, I tried a jojoba gummy bear in Germany for the first time. I liked it so much. The next year, we went back to the jojoba factory. My dad sent a tour. We did a tour of the jojoba gummy bear factory. And at the end of the tour, we each got a case of gummy bears. And my dad said, "Now, I got one. My dad got one. My brother got one." He said, "Now, boys, I want to keep mine. You keep yours, and Trey, you keep yours. And don't eat them all because they got to last for the rest of the summer." I whooped those things down in about 3 days. The whole case was like 50 packages. My dad, the whole rest of that summer, would take a gummy bear and go, "Oh, this gummy bear sure is good." As he's driving, suck on that gummy bear. It's just a story. It's just a story, Anyway, so that's great. You're not a junk food guy. Some people are, some people aren't.
Yeah.
So if you're on the run, what are you going to eat? Like if you're hungry and you're on the run, do you just make it where you're not hungry on the run?
No.
What do you do?
Because I will say, being a chef, I don't eat like set meals because I'm always in the kitchen tasting stuff. So it's like I'm always eating.
Right.
You know, so it's like, you know,
don't trust the skinny chef.
But no, and that's probably because I'm always eating, always on my feet, you know, so, you know, burning calories or whatever.
Sure.
But, yeah, Sundays and Mondays are my time to like sit down, and most of the time, my wife and I are big at cooking outside. We love cooking.
You have a green egg, right?
Yeah, I love cooking my green egg. Yeah.
You and Charles Yachts over there at Cali's Cafe.
Yeah.
He's got like, I saw his patio for the cafe. I think he's got like 8 or 10 of them lined up, and he cooks on a lot of that for the cafe. But yeah, I thought it was neat.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Picture all of them smoking one time. so you're not only a chef, you're a restaurateur.
Mm-hmm.
What is your biggest challenge for the people who listen to maybe chefs? What is your biggest challenge for you as being a chef and a restaurateur? What's your biggest challenge on a daily basis? What's your thing that you have to work on a daily basis?
So I think you know what we try and always preach at both of our restaurants is, you know, we're family. We spend more time together between the four walls of the two restaurants than we do with our own personal families. So we just try and respect every single person, and then we try and always talk about the mantra of the restaurant, what we're trying to achieve, what are we always, you know, striving for, and to never get complacent, never to get, you know, we're a 10-year-old restaurant, but we change every single day.
Complacency is bad.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get like that, and then what happens is the restaurant just starts going like this.
Sure. And so we always want, when you know, we have a lot of regulars over the 10 years, and we want to always, every time they come in, they want to see something new. We want to provide something for them. So we always try and just preach that to our staff.
Yeah. And is your organization skills good, or does somebody organize things for you?
No, I definitely think it's funny. My boss always asks me, he's like, how come you never write anything down? Like I just don't. I have my own like Rolodex and calendar in my head. And I just live that.
That will not go good for me. That's not like me. I talk to so many people now. I'll do like on Saturday. This Saturday I'll probably have 5 or 6 different functions I'm going to make, different food functions, drink functions, and I'm ADD, so my mind runs 1,000,000 miles a minute. And I'll turn to Jenna and we say, "Hey, Jenna, did that?" She'll be like, "I didn't hear that one." So I mean, I always need help, you know, trying to remember, because there's just so much goes on. So you just remember everything?
I mean, I wouldn't say I remember everything, but I try to. I definitely don't write things down. And I think one of the big things for me is like I really hate writing recipes.
Oh, you do? I was just fixing to ask you. Yeah, I was just fixing to ask you how you do when you do your recipes. What do you write them all down?
Well, eventually we have to. So it's like when we're testing out a dish, you know, we come up with a base idea and then start making it.
Okay, so hang on. So when you create a dish, so let's say you're going to create a dish, and you create this dish. It just comes out of your mind, or do you write it down first and you just do it out of your mind?
So we basically start with an idea.
Okay.
So if it's, I don't know, a black bass dish, so when we're thinking about, if we're going to do black bass, we're thinking what's in season. What do we like that's going to pair with that? So we start making things, and I will tell you, 10 times out of one out of 10 times the dish is good. So most of the time they're not right. Okay. We have to go back to the drawing board before and continue to work out the kinks before it ever hits the menu. So we might make a dish 10, 15 times before it even touches the menu.
Okay, and you have to go back and tweak the flavors, the spices, the number of amounts, and then you write it down.
Yeah, then once we get it down, we'll write the entire recipe, so that makes it easier for the staff to understand it.
After 35 years, do you have a vault full of recipes, or how do you do it?
I have a ton of notebooks.
You do?
Yeah.
See, I'm old school. I really believe I don't trust, because I've had my phones crash, my computers crash, and couldn't get stuff out. I've even had where I had to take a hard drive out and go have somebody plug it in, try to get stuff out for me. So the important stuff, I like to try to keep on. I use a yellow pad.
Yeah, yellow pads. Yellow pads. I have tons of them. Yeah, and I have post-it notes all through, so I can find the stuff easily. Yes, I'm actually on the same page with you on that.
Well, coming from a guy who was on a national campaign for Sprint. Funny story. This is a great story, man. I'm in Dallas. I'm tooling around Dallas. I was going to a restaurant in Dallas. Were you with me, Jana? Janet was with me. We were in Dallas, and we were going to this restaurant, and I pulled up to park, and I look up. I look to my left, and there is Blaine on the side of a parking garage. And literally, did you see that one?
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, 8, 10 stories tall. I'm like, that some gun is not that tall. I know better than that.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
that was a really great opportunity. Sprint approached us, and they wanted to do some local marketing in the DFW area and asked if we'd be involved. And it's kind of funny, I've been a Sprint customer for 20-something years. That's the only provider I've ever used.
That is awesome.
And it just kind of happened. And yeah, they've been
you did TV.
Yeah, TV, radio, billboards.
Print. Well, you did a lot of print. I saw you on buildings. In front of Fox Television, you were on that whole side of that building in Dallas. That was one of about 50 I saw.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you were on a bus. I saw you on the side of a bus.
Dart lines, TCU theft.
Did that translate into any more business for you at the restaurant, or just notoriety for you?
Man, I think it was just notoriety. I tell you what, there's some people that you haven't seen or heard from in a long time. As soon as you start seeing billboards, they come out. So I definitely talked to quite a few people I haven't talked to in a long time, and it's kind of fun. They're like, even just walking around the restaurant, even if it's a guest that I don't know, they're like, "Are you that guy? Are you that guy that we saw on the billboard?"
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It's fun.
Isn't that funny? But really though, I mean, you can't talk to our customers. You don't know if it really translated into any business for you, but for as far as notoriety, it did.
Yeah, I think it. What it does is I think it puts that name on there. It's like, oh, we haven't been to Grace in a while. We should go. I think that's all it does. It just gives them that little blip.
If you get 100,000 people, that one blip, guess what happens?
Absolutely.
All right. So, what are your next plans? What's your? Oh, I know what you're fixing up a new restaurant, another restaurant.
Yeah. So we're in the process of capital raising for our second Little Red Wasp, and we hope to put that in South Lake. So that's kind of the process right now.
I think people. I think you know how I feel about the Red Wasp. I think that's a thing that could be here, could be in LA, could be in Miami. That's just a great concept with great food, and I think there should be 10 or 15 of those things.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really do.
Yeah, it's something that we definitely want to do multiple locations with.
Okay, that's great. So, and then after you get that deal done, what do y'all have? You just gonna no more restaurant concepts? Just you gonna stick with Little Red Wasp? Or you can open up.
No. I'm in this for the long run.
I put in the Grace.
We don't have necessarily set plans on anything except for Wasp right now. But I've got a bunch of ideas in the back of my brain of different concepts that I definitely want to do. Yeah.
Well, Blaine, I really appreciate it today, man. Thanks for being on my inaugural show, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
I've always loved everything you've done. And if y'all want to find, if somebody wants to find out about you, where do they find out about you? What are your websites for Grace and Little Red Wasp?
So it's gracefortworth.com and littleredwasp.com.
Yeah, Grace Fort Worth. That means we're going to have Grace Dallas, Grace Miami, Grace LA, Grace Beverly Hills. If y'all looking for me, you can find me at treyschowdown.com. And that has all my social media on, or you can find me on Twitter, Instagram. Facebook is my big thing. We post 8 or 10 times a day. We also have a thing called Drink with Trey where we do cocktails and promote different bar scene in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and some in Austin. I appreciate you listening, and tell everybody about our show. We're going to be here every Friday from 10 to 11 in the morning. That's I need to say Eastern time, don't I?
It's okay. That's Central. But hey, Trey, Chef Patrick here. Thank you so much, man.
Yes,
We're really, really happy to have you on board. Man, what a great show. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. And so look us up and have some fun and get on our social media. I think you'll really like it. Till next Friday, y'all. Thanks a lot. Adios.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.